Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Good Morning Show continues this morning, and the segment on air right now is the Western Spectrum. And today, the 10th of November, 2025, we want to look at some of the strategies that the government is employing in terms of rolling out the development agenda. Remember, this agenda is christened the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. As you know, that is supporting those that are at the bottom of the pyramid to bring them up. And also, we are talking about agricultural aspect of the agenda. And this morning specifically, we're going to focus on supporting the rice value chain. Remember, Kisumu and generally the western part of Kenya, rice production also does well apart from cane production, and specifically in Kisumu, apart from the fishing that is now almost certain for everyone. Rice production is also big, and quite a number of locals here engage in that practice. If you underwent the 844 curriculum, you must have learned about the Ahero irrigation scheme, and that is just one of the many irrigation schemes in Western Kenya. We have the Migori Kuria irrigation scheme and also another scheme in Homa Bay. And just in what way can the government come through for these farmers to ensure that production is enhanced? Before we get to that conversation with my guest that is already here with me, let me just run you through some statistics to set base for our conversation this morning. Kenya, in terms of rice production versus consumption, Kenya produces in the region of between 300 and 400,000 metric tons annually. That is in terms of rice production, but that is against of about 1 million metric tons in terms of consumption. You can just imagine the difference that is left, and now government has to spend billions of shillings to plug that deficit. But what are some of the strategies can the government employ to motivate or rather increase production and minimize importation? That is what we're going to discuss with my guest this morning, the Managing Director of the Lake Basin Development Authority, CPA Wycliffe Ochiaga, who is already with me here. Good morning, Bonemdi.
Good morning, and how are you?
I'm very fine, thank you. And thank you for making time for us this morning, as even as we want to talk about the supporting rice value chain. We know that LBDA is one of the 6 regional development agencies that support roll out the government development agenda. Just in 2 minutes, run us through the mandate of the LBDA as one of the regional development agencies, just in 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. My name is Wycliffe Ochiaga, and I am the Managing Director of Lake Basin Development Authority. And thank you very much for hosting me here today as we discuss this important segment in rice value chain. Now, Lake Basin Development Authority, just as you have mentioned, is one of the regional development agencies under the Ministry of East African Community Affairs, Arid and Semi-Arid Lands, and Regional Development. And our greatest mandate is to spur the economic growth within the Lake Victoria catchment area. And that is why we come up with a number of programs that then can spur the socio-economic growth within the Lake Victoria catchment area. And one of the value chains or the programs that we are undertaking is in rice value chain. And we are implementing this in the entire western region, covering Kisumu County, Homa Bay County, Migori County, Siaya, Busia, and part of Nandi and Kericho counties, where rice is being grown. We are here today to discuss on what is it that as a government agency we are able to do to ensure that we enhance production of rice locally and try to reduce the importation so that we have circulate within the economy.
We know that there's some of the challenges that bedevil these rice farmers. One of them, apart from the rising cost of production that actually they continue lamenting about, there's also the marketing bit of it. The production, the produce that they get after harvesting. There's no proper market pathway to offset their produce, and that means they have to sell it majorly to the middlemen from Uganda, and they're citing exploitation by these agents. LBDA, I know there is a plant, there is a milling plant that has now been established at Kibos. Tell us briefly about this. What is the capacity and what is the motivation towards it?
Thank you very much. The milling plant we have in Kisumu is one of the modest milling plants within the Western Kenya region. And this issued by His Excellency the President in the year 2024, in August last year. And it is part of the interventions that the government has put in place to ensure that we support the rice farming. Now, the capacity of that milling plant is between 3 tons to 4 tons per hour, and that then speaks to what we are able to mop up in terms of paddy rice within the region that we operate in. Now, away from milling, we are looking into both the market and what is it beyond the market. So for milling purposes, we are offering or availing the market for raw materials to our farmers. But again, we have invested so much in training of the farmers in terms of the modern techniques of farming. We are investing on expanding our irrigation infrastructure so that we have a lot of land put under irrigation. But again, another challenge that farmers have experienced is in terms of what we call drying floor. And drying floor means that when they harvest, where do they air their raw materials so that they gain the required moisture content. So again, at Lake Basin Mall or at Lake Basin Mill, we have a drying floor of around 1 acre. So we offer this floor to our farmers free of charge, and then after they have gained the moisture that is required, we buy from them.
Given the cost of production that the rice farmers have to incur in producing this paddy rice, they also expect to make good returns, and that means they need to get paid well in terms of the kg of paddy rice that they supply to the LBDA. Tell us the payment. How much do they get and on what basis?
Our payments are very and it depends on the market prices. That is one. And then number two, it also depends on the quality of raw materials that we get. That is the quality of paddy. And the quality of paddy is determined by the grain, the length of the grain. It's also determined by the moisture content of that particular paddy. And so the lower the moisture content, the higher the value of the raw materials. And then the longer the grain, also the higher the value. And then number two, we continuously engage the farmer cooperatives as we determine the prices, so that the price that we give to farmers is that makes sense to them in terms of business that they make. Averagely, we are doing between 55 shillings to 65 shillings per kg of paddy rice, and then our payments are prompt. We ensure that we pay promptly so that there is good circulation of money within the economy.
We just want to change
right there, because the pictures that you're currently seeing on our screens, those are pictures of farmers partaking in this particular practice, and actually that is a farmer that is spraying on their farms, actually to just minimize the losses that result from pest infections. And remember, Kisumu is a region, not just Kisumu, there's also the challenge of destructive birds. We call them the queller birds. And this is a challenge that has bedeviled rice farmers for the longest time. But then now the county government and the national government alike are coming up with strategies actually to alleviate this challenge. Remember, agriculture is devolved, and so the county government also has to play a role in terms of improving the welfare of the farmers here. Talking about offsetting the paddy rice that is produced in Kisumu, we know that the Kisumu county government has also installed, or are in the process of installing a milling plant at the Hero irrigation scheme. This is a plant that has the capacity to produce 2.5 tons per hour, and when that process is finally complete, actually the rice farmers in the region, talk of Ahero, talk of the West Kano, will have a place to take their rice, and also that means they can only get more returns from the practice. At the moment, some of the rice farmers are almost deviating from this practice because of the high cost of production that I've already mentioned, and also talk about the destructive birds that remain the biggest challenge. Remember, before we came on air yesterday, I spoke to a representative, or rather a leader of an association of rice farmers in Ahero, and one of the challenges he mentioned is that they're losing up to 30% of their produce to the destructive birds, and that means the government, both the national and the county, like I've mentioned, need to devise strategies to alleviate this challenge. Well, we continue with the conversation this morning with the LBDEA Managing Director, Weekly for Sugar. And just like before I mentioned I explained some of the pictures on our screen, you are talking about the pricing that you pay to the rice farmers or rather the farmers that supply you with rice. Just briefly repeat some of the determinant factors on what determines what price is paid to the suppliers.
Thank you very much. And what we have said is that our prices are very competitive and also very considerate. And we arrive at the price based on the market forces. Of course, that is the first model that we use. And then number two is on the quality of the paddy rice that we get from farmers. And in terms of quality, the quality is assessed in terms of the moisture content of the paddy, and also in terms of the length of the grain of the paddy. Now, the longer the grain, the higher the value. And then the lower the moisture content, the higher the value. But even with that, we are alive to the fact that there are other things to be considered away from the two that I have mentioned. And that is why we also engage the farmer cooperative leaderships, so that we get to understand other factors that are not known to us, so that as we pay farmers, we give prices that are competitive and that makes meaning to them in terms of business.
Yeah. This price range is between?
And then we have the prices between now 55 shillings to 65 shillings, depending on those factors that I've highlighted.
And like I mentioned, I spoke to one of the leaders of those cooperatives in Ahero.
And he mentioned that the Ugandan factories that are buying their rice pays up to, at the moment they're paying 57 shillings. But then they still believe this is a low price given the amount of money they have to spend in producing this paddy rice. How do you work with the cooperatives to ensure that, do you have the capacity to mop up the entire rice that is produced at Ahero and West Kano?
What we are doing at the moment is that away from our milling plant, that of course has a good capacity, that is between 3 tons to 4.5 tons, we are also trying to build capacity of the local millers, the small millers, so that it doesn't appear that with the existence of a government miller, then we kill the other millers around. So we have taken them through the quality checks to ensure that whatever they mill meets the standard, and the standards are set by KBC. So that is how we absorb the excess supply that we receive from farmers. Now, again, what we are doing as a government is to try and adopt technology when it comes to farming, so that the cost of production is reduced. And when the cost of production is reduced, then even the 57 shillings they are saying is low will make sense. Now, the images that you have seen there, you have seen a gentleman doing manual land preparation. You've seen a gentleman spraying manually, and also scaring of birds manually. And then what the government is now doing is to try to automate all these processes, so that mechanization of agriculture, so that we have the rotavators, we have the loaders, and we have the drones that can spray fertilizer and can also scare birds. So when this is properly adopted, the cost of production will definitely reduce and the income will go higher.
This milling plant at Kibbles by LBDA,
the capacity to process in between 3 and 4 metric tons per hour. What are the ways, in which other ways does it benefit the farmers? Because we know apart from processing it, there are, apart from refining the paddy rice into the fine rice that can now be consumed, there are other byproducts that emanate in the process.
Now we are looking at the entire value chain when it comes to rice value chain, and it doesn't end at the milled rice. We have a whole chain of byproducts, and the first one is of course the broken rice that cannot be graded. Number 2, we have the rice brands. Number 3, we have the husks. Now all this can then be inputs or raw materials to other products. So we are using this to come up with the chicken feeds, to come up with the livestock feeds, to come up with the briquettes. Now briquettes then conserves environment, because then we are trying to reduce the firewood, the charcoal and everything. And then we are also keen into educating the farmers that even as you do rice farming, you can also alternate with other farming activities. And we have tried to encourage the livestock farming. We are encouraging them to rear the chicken, so that as they wait to harvest, they still have other sources of income. And of course, at the plant, we have employed quite a number of youths. More than 100 youths are employed on a day-to-day basis. So it is also a source of employment to the community around. Yeah.
And now,
the byproducts that are produced, we know those products you've talked about, do they benefit the farmers at the end of the day, or once they supply the paddy rice to the farm, to the plant, now every other benefit is owned and by LBDA specifically?
Definitely supports, because as a government agency, whatever products that we avail to the market, we avail them at affordable rates. So when we do fertilizers, they come out at affordable rates. When we do chicken feeds, they come out at affordable rates. When we do livestock feeds, they come out at affordable rates. So this also is a way of supporting them in terms of the cost that they incur to procure these particular raw materials in other value chains. Yeah.
I don't know how are the rice farmers aware of the plant at Kibos, because as I spoke to one Mr. Josh, is the chair of the Ahero irrigation scheme that is bringing quite a number of rice farmers in that area. He said at the moment they're still selling that produce to Uganda. Are they aware about this, about the presence of the milling plant at Kibos?
We've just been 1 year into production, and what we have been able to do is to invest on sensitization. So we've done a lot of farmer sensitization. We are engaging with the other stakeholders, with the county government, with the private sector players, to ensure that the information is outside there. Now, in the last 2 weeks, we've had a lot of engagements with the farmers in Kisumu. We've had a lot of engagements with the farmers in Homa Bay and Migori, and we continue to engage so that we sensitize them on the availability of market of their products and also a competitive market. So it is something we continue to do, and the feedback is very good. We have seen a lot of farmers now delivering their paddy rice. We have received a number of calls for those who are unable to deliver, so that we go and collect. And we have also seen people developing interest in rice farming, and that has even led us into doing some surveys in terms of how can we expand the irrigation infrastructure. Yeah.
From where you sit, you've been in operation. That plant has been in operation for the past 1 year. What is your assessment? Has it improved the welfare of the farmers around?
Definitely, yes. Because looking at the prices that we pay, they are a bit higher than what other middlemen pay. And then number 2, we are also training these farmers on the modern techniques in farming, the climate smart farming. So away from just buying from them, we are also building their capacity. So for the last 1 year, we have been able to do this, and I'm sure the effects are all, of course, there. And even in terms of traders, today when you walk around Kisumu, it is the LBDA rice that is being sold within the Kisumu and its environs. And what does that mean? What it means is that we are supporting traders, and we are even giving them credit facilities so that they pay after they have sold. So this has made business easy for them, and I'm sure it has improved the welfare of the people around Lake Basin region.
Right. What more do you think can be done? Because I'm sure you have assessed this this entire value chain, right from the cost of producing it all the way to offsetting it through the milling plants. And specifically, like I mentioned, they're still selling to Uganda. What more do you think can be done either by the government through LBDA or any other agencies to ensure that the rice that is produced locally here is still processed locally, so that the middlemen from the Ugandan milling factories do not exploit these rice farmers?
One thing that the government is doing is expanding the irrigation infrastructure so that we have a lot of land put under production. And this is going to almost double the production capacity locally. Now, the second thing that we are doing is to partner and collaborate with the private sector. We have those who have the milling machines around as well. We have those who want to venture into the rice value chain in terms of the milling. So we encourage everybody so that we do not dominate the market. So what we are doing is that the few who have expressed interest, we take them through the process to assess the quality of what they can produce, to train them, so that the quality that we produce as Lake Basin is similar to quality that is produced by the millers around. Now, another thing that we are doing so that we enhance the production around is doing a lot of research with other government agencies in terms of the seeds that are more resilient around here and the ones that can give proper yield. And that is why we encourage our farmers to get certified seeds, not seeds that have been used over and over, that then even the yield is compromised. So those are some of the interventions that the government is putting in place, and we hope that this will change the whole ecosystem in rice value chain.
You talk about certified seeds and the high quality
seeds. But then let's assume I'm a budding farmer and I'm interested in engaging in rice farming, but then I don't know how the steps to take in terms of getting the right seeds. Where do we get the right seeds here in Kisumu specifically?
Now, in Kisumu we have Calro shops that have these seeds. But again, farmers who reach out to us directly, we are able to help them procure. And we are also into some partnerships with other private sector players who support the entire cycle of farming. So they are able to come in to help in land preparation, they are able to come in to help with seeds, they are able to come in to help in harvesting. And when you harvest, then they recover. So even as we wait for what the government should do in terms of financing the farmers, we also have private sector players who are ready to finance farmers, and we can also connect the farmers to these private players. So we encourage all the farmers to reach out to those who have the land that is enough asset. So other things you can be supported so that you achieve your intended objectives.
It's even better that you
brought out the financing aspect, because apart from the destructive birds, the exploitation by the middlemen, and there's also the challenge of getting enough capital actually to produce for the farmers to produce more rice. As LBDA, do you support these farmers by maybe getting them also? Do you have a kitty that they can borrow from, and also so that they can expand their production?
We don't have a kitty per se, but we have brought in private players, private sector that we have partnered with, and they are able to provide financing. maybe in another forum, we will be able to have an engagement where we have all the private sector players that we work with who finance and also support in the entire value chain. So it is working, and it has made work easy for farmers. What you do is just to avail land, and then everything is done for you, and you still make your money. So instead of incurring a lot of cost, which our farmers do not have in terms of capital, we have made it easier for them to access this financing. We have negotiated, and the rates are better, and they are still able to get return on investment. Yeah.
We know actually the president has been big in terms of persistently mentioning or rather encouraging private-public partnership in ensuring that Kenyans are supported in whatever thing they engage in. But that now brings me to the aspect of, you see, these farmers, they need constant capacity building, and that happens through extension officers that are sent out to the field by the county government, given that the fact that agriculture is devolved rather. So as LBDA, is there a group of extension officers that you work with to improve the welfare or rather the technical knowledge of these farmers in terms of rice production?
Yes, and we partner with all the county governments where we operate, but we also have our technical staff who are able to work together with the extension officers from the county government. But we are also alive to the fact that we can never have enough staff because of the vast region that we cover. And currently we are working on the models. We want to make use of the AIs, the artificial intelligence, and come up with the tools that can project the weather patterns, can project the yield, can project the duration that farmers should have before they harvest. So even as we use our technical staff and also the county government officers, we are moving towards adopting technology so that we make it easier and we make access easier for all farmers in terms of the knowledge that they require and the support that they require. Yeah.
As we began this, I talked about the production versus consumption. It's about 30-70 or even 40-60. Kenya produces less than it consumes, and that means the country still spends billions of shillings importing to plug the deficit. Which other ways can the government adopt, both national and the county government, which other strategies they can adopt to mobilize production, motivate the rice farmers, and also bring in more, or rather encourage more farmers to engage in rice farming so that that production goes up to minimize imports?
The advantage we have in Kenya is land. So we have, I would say, enough land to do agriculture, both in arid lands and semi-arid lands and in the whole country. And where we are moving to, we already have seeds that are grown on rain-fed, so that you don't have to do irrigation. They don't need a lot of water. So this means that even in our ASAL areas, we have varieties that can grow. So that is an advantage we have, that the government keeps investing over and over. In the last 1 year or so, you'll realize that His Excellency the President has invested so much in doing the irrigation canals, be it in this region, be it in Mwea, and in all other parts of the country, be it in Kuja, Migori. And what this has done is to increase the land under production. So in terms of what we can do is to increase the land under production by leveraging the infrastructure that we have and also by expanding the infrastructure that we have. Now we've talked about variety of seeds, those that can survive on rain-fed and those that would need sufficient water in terms of, irrigation. But most importantly thing is to mechanize our production. because that is where we incur a lot of costs. I think at the moment per acre, farmers incur around 70,000, and then they get 70,000 as profit. Now, when we mechanize, we've done the workings, and this 70,000 in terms of cost of production can be reduced by half. So that in itself will motivate more farmers to get into rice farming. Again, what has been done in the sugar sector is what we would also want to do in rice value chain sector in terms of bonuses. Because what then would motivate farmers into venturing into rice farming, for me, is away from what we have discussed, is also the bonuses. And how do we get the bonuses? I've just indicated that we have other byproducts that then serve as inputs to other products. Now, if as Lake Basin we bought paddy, and we have milled paddy and gotten graded rice, we have the byproduct now that we have not bought, and we are using this one to do the chicken feeds, to do the livestock feeds, to do the, the fertilizer, to do the briquettes. Then this also should make meaning or sense to farmers. So it is a model we are coming up with so that it doesn't end at the mill rice, but it goes beyond, and farmers also get value for those other processes. And that is how the bonuses will come up. So it is something we are working on. I'm sure in 1 or 2 years the model will be proper, and our rice farmers will begin earning bonuses. Yeah.
He's talked about the partnership between LBDA and other private players to support these farmers by actually giving them access to capital and other financing to inject into rice farming. I'm wondering, in the region, are there other government agencies that you are working with in support of the rice farmers in the region?
Yes. Basin Development Authority, we have national here that provide irrigation infrastructure. Actually, the Ahero irrigation scheme, the infrastructure there was developed by the National Irrigation Authority. Now, if you go to Puja Migori, the infrastructure there is by NIA. If you go to Busia as well, NIA. Lake Basin has done Kimira Oluchi in Homa Bay, but again we are coming up to do West Kano irrigation scheme to open up infrastructure. So it is a multi-agency approach to ensure that we achieve the same goal by combining efforts between the government agencies and also the county government. Yeah.
All right. Apart from that partnership, what are some, in terms of improving the welfare of the rice farmers, what are the pipeline projects that they can expect?
The irrigation infrastructure are coming up, and that will be of great impact to the farmers. We are also trying to, or we are working on organizing farmers into cooperatives, yeah, so that even the private sector who wants to come in to support the entire value chain works within some structures. So we are in the process of organizing them into cooperatives, and this also ensures that even in terms of financing, the financing entities can then deal with the cooperatives. They have had issues on governance, but those ones are being resolved so that we have properly constituted farmer cooperatives. We are already doing farmer education, but we want to intensify these so that we properly train our farmers, we properly educate them and enlighten them. We will continue to engage farmers in the future, and also to pick up ideas on how best they feel rice farming can be done, and then we put together with what we think should be done, with a view of increasing the local production. So those are some of the things that we have in the pipeline that are coming up that will be beneficial to farmers within the region. Yeah.
The LPDA rice milling plant in Kibos has been in operation for just over a year, like you mentioned, and that means this has given it an impetus, or rather a perspective of what rice production in the region entails. What do you feel? What do you, from your assessment, what do you see as the future of rice farming in Kisumu and the region?
Very positive growth in terms of rice farming, because the challenges that were there before, we are trying to address them. We are trying to mechanize, we are trying to sensitize farmers, we are trying to avail market to farmers, and also just to expand our farms, because at the moment, looking at Kisumu alone, we still have more than 20,000 acres that can be put under production. You go to Homa Bay, almost the same. You go to Migori, you go to Siaya. So within the region, we can talk about close to 100,000 acres that should be put under production. But with the government coming into place, plus with the programs that I've mentioned that the government has, even in terms of the bonuses, I want to believe that rice farming will be as lucrative as other farming activities. Yeah.
And that means you can new rice
farmers can always be mobilized to enhance production.
Yes.
Okay. And rice production, actually, it is also a mainstay in regions like Ahero, in places like Kano. But then again, the aspect of the challenge of queller birds that I've mentioned, in your view, how can it be addressed?
Because our farmers do manual bird scaring, which is it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy. It could be expensive, because in a 1 acre farm you want to have like 20 or 30 people scare birds. And for me, technology would come in handy into this, and we could adopt drones to try and do the bird scaring, to try and do the spraying, and so that we reduce the manual labor in terms of the whole process of rice farming. It is a challenge that with the technology we can address, but again, I would be interested in looking at what researchers have in terms of can we have a variety that does not attract the birds. So it is an area that we want to leave out again for researchers to try and see how best this can be done, whether we can have varieties come up that are not attractive to birds, but then we still achieve the same aroma that we get at the moment.
I want to know the connection that you have with the Kisumu County government, because I know they have a milling plant that they are in the process of establishing at the Ahero irrigation scheme, like mentioned earlier. But it has taken them quite some time to get this rolling. What connection do you, because I know you work hand in hand with them, what aspects do they pump into the rice value chain, and how do you come together in improving the welfare of the rice farmers?
Yeah, it is true that that milling plant has not been operationalized, but once it is operationalized, similar way to how we work with other millers, we will still work together with the county government, because with all the investments that we are putting in place, production is going to be massive, and Lake Basin alone will not be able to absorb the entire production, even put together with other millers. So county government will also come in to help mop up the paddy rice, and also just to reduce the exploitation that our farmers face with the middlemen that come, because the capacity of the milling plants around does not satisfy the production. So they will come in to support production, they will come in to avail the market. Plus again, county governments also have extension officers. They have allocations for fertilizers. They have allocations for farmer sensitization. So similar to what we do, we will just put together our efforts so that at the end of the day, it is the farmers who benefit.
Okay. Yes. I'm sitting here wondering because LBDA is a regional development agency, and development comes in various ways. Rice value chain is just one of them, and we have a lot of other activities that LBDA engages in. So I'm wondering, how do you draw the balance to ensure that, in as much as there are other activities that we engage in, like drilling out boreholes, sinking boreholes in support of the locals in terms of access to clean water, where do you draw the balance to ensure that there are enough resources that are channeled to growing the welfare of the rice farmers in the region?
Yes, so what happens is that, number one, as we mill, we generate income. And as a government agency, the reason why we generate income is to plow it back to the economy. So away from what we get from development partners, away from what we get from the national government in terms of exchequer releases, what we generate also is plowed back to the farming activities. So that is how we are able to support the farming around. We do not just rely on national government support. We rely on both national government support, development partners, our collaboration with the county governments, and also what we are able to generate that we then plow back into the farming activities. Yeah.
The milk plant has been in operation for a year now. Could you just tell us how much it generates and how this supports the government in its development agenda?
The last 12 months, we have milled around 3,700 tons. That is an income of between 200 million to 250 million. Now, number one, this is a lot of money in the economy because it is a revolving fund. So it means that for the last 1 year, we have pumped more than 200 million in this economy in terms of what we buy, in terms of job creation, in terms of any support. So that 200 million has circulated in the entire economy. So as it circulates in the entire economy, then it supports the 4 pillars of the better agenda. Our farmers are able to access the health care. They are able to support their children go to school. People are able to do business, economic developments, and we are talking about technology adoption. So even the pillar on technology, we are coming in strongly to support. So that is the multiplier effect of that mill within this ecosystem.
So
this income generated from milling is not just focused on the rice value chain alone. It is spread through to other aspects as well.
Yeah.
Going forward, what do you tell
the farmers in the region? What should they expect from LBD in terms of improving their welfare?
I assure farmers that we are here to support farming. We are here to improve farming, and we will stand with the farmers from farm to market. So we are there to support.
I'm wondering because there are different schemes, like we mentioned. We have a scheme in Kisumu, just not more than one. We have a scheme in Homa Bay. There is another in Migori, and you've also spoken about another in Busia. How many according to your records, how many farmers are you working with from the cooperatives?
Now, the farmers we deal with are smallholder farmers. And smallholder farmers are farmers that have between 2 to 3 acres, just an average of between 2 to 3 acres per farmer. So definitely there are thousands and thousands of farmers, considering the acreage of land that is under production. So many farmers, so many households that are benefiting from this program. Yeah.
Locally, coming back to the region, I already mentioned to you my conversation with Mr. Josh. Josh is the chair of a cooperative in Ahero, and he mentioned that exploitation is an issue that they are still grappling with, and the exploiters actually are agents of milling factories in Uganda. How can they be shut out entirely?
You know, Kenya is just one of the countries in East African community, and I know there are guidelines there are guidelines to guide how Kenya relates with Uganda, Tanzania, plus other East African communities. And we have done a number of proposals. Of course, we don't want to be very rigid that we do not allow, our East African community countries, to do with us business, because even us, there are products we get from the EAC community. But I'm looking at it in a broader picture, in a way that we give reason to farmers to sell to government. And we are working on supporting farmers in the entire process of farming, from land preparation to everything to harvesting, so that when they have that support from government, then they have the reason to support the government in terms of supply. Now, we are also working on other benefits that comes with the rice farming. I'd mentioned about the model on the bonuses. So with this particular model, they will have no reason to sell outside the country. They would rather sell within, and then at the end of the year, they earn their bonuses. So these are some of the incentives that we are putting in place to ensure that farmers have reason. We don't want to adopt a model where it is a push and pull between Kenya and other EAC communities. But we want to motivate our farmers and make them have a reason to work with the government. Yeah.
Agriculture is devolved, just like I mentioned. What message do you have for the to the county governments in the counties where the rice farmers are majorly dominant?
Now, the message to the county governments, who are also our stakeholders, is that we are here to work together. It is a joint effort. As Lake Basin, we cannot achieve it alone. As county governments, I know they can't achieve it alone. There is strength in working together. So as LBDA, we are there to work together with the county governments. There are those that we have signed MOUs with. There are those that we are working on MOUs, so that we put together our resources and support agriculture. Yeah.
Even as we move towards the end of this conversation, you may want to look into that camera and let the farmers be aware that there is a milling plant established by the government in Kibos, and this milling plant is there for them.
Yes. Farmers within the region that we have Lake Basin milling plant in Kisumu to support the farmers within the region. In Kisumu County, in Siaya County, Homa Bay County, Busia, part of Nandi, part of Kericho. And we are there to support not only in milling, we are also there to support in terms of other value chain activities. We are there to support mechanization and land preparation. We are there to support, provide certified seeds. We are there to train, to capacity build, and just support farming. And I want to encourage everybody that you feel free to visit Lake Basin Development Authority. We have our social media handles, please follow. We have our website. If you have a message to drop there, you can drop. And our feedback mechanism is normally very effective and efficient and real time. We'll be able to read through, and we will respond and give solutions where our guidance are needed. Yeah.
Tell them the
location of this plant.
The plant is located in Kisumu County. We are in Kisumu, Kisumu, Kondele, Kibos Road. So that is where the mill is located. Yeah.
Does it operate each and every day, and so that the farmers can also just walk in there?
7 days a week, and we run shifts, 2 shifts up to around midnight, so that we absorb as much as possible from our farmers. Yeah.
And one critical matter that I also want you to talk about, even as we wind up, is the calling upon the private sector to come through and join hands with you in terms of improving the welfare of these rice farmers. Speak a message to the private sector.
Private players who provide financing, we are private players who provide seeds, we are private players who provide equipment for land preparation. I want to call upon all of them so that we can do a tripartite agreement, and we are there to support you in terms of recovering your investments, because as a government agency we will ensure that all your investments are secure, and as LBDA, as farmers sell to us, then we are also able to help you recover all your investments. So we are here to guarantee your investments, and feel free to join us in this journey of agriculture and just enhancing rice production within the country. Yeah.
Lastly, there's a question that I must be forgetting, but then in terms of when the farmers supply paddy rice to LBDA milling plant in Kubos, are they paid instantly, or they have to wait also as in the case of other value chains in the agricultural sector?
Because we mill and sell, so it is cash that is available. So the farmers supply is only that you cannot get it the same day, but within 1 or 2 days you get your money paid to you in whichever model that you advise. There are those who get through M-Pesa, there are those who get through banks. What we don't do is to pay through cash. Yeah.
So there is the LBDA
LBDA branded rice in the local stores?
Yes. We trade as premium rice, and we are in the supermarkets, we are in institutions, we are in the market, and we continue to collaborate with other players so that we have our brand expand beyond Western Kenya region. Yeah.
Maybe speak a message to those people that may be looking to venture into rice farming. What should they expect? Is it profitable?
Yes, it is. Like any other business, you must work hard. Yeah, and you must take your time, and you must understand the environment. So those who want to venture into the rice farming, take your time, seek for more clarity around it. It is a lucrative business because investing and getting a return of, it is 100%, because I had indicated that per acre you invest around 70,000 shillings and then you sell at around 150, 160. It is 100% return on investment, but it is involving. That is what I have to tell those who want to venture into rice farming. It is involving, and you have to give it your best. Yeah.
See that when you say that, some people might be discouraged, and you see this region is known for fishing actually, but now the fishing sector is not doing very well because wild fishing is being phased out, and people are now embracing aquaculture as the new frontier. But then that means there is need for a shift from just fishing to farming, because you see the youth specifically, they're not so big in terms of farming. Maybe you speak a message to the youth as a way to alleviate, also rather address unemployment among the youth.
Farming is like any other employment, and we have trainings on agriculture in our learning institutions. And what it means that if you train as an agricultural officer, then you don't expect to work in the office. You expect to work in the farm. So like any other employer, or like any other job that would do, blue collar job as it is called, is a major employer at the moment in the country, because looking at the number of youths that are employed in the farms, it is amazing. And I want to encourage our youths that let us venture into farming. Let us use the knowledge that we have acquired in our learning institutions let us use the tech knowledge that we have to better the farming activities. So moving forward, we are relying so much on the youths to do agriculture because of the knowledge that they have acquired, because of their ability to come up with the models that can make it easier for farming activities. So I encourage all the youths that there is an opportunity to be employed, there is an opportunity to make money. The government last week just gave disbursed Nyota funds, yeah, and they can organize themselves into groups and make good use of these resources that government is investing in our youths. Yeah.
Still on that plant, apart from milling the paddy rice supplied to you by the farmers and also creating employment opportunities to the locals, does it offer training probably to the graduates that may still need some technical knowledge in preparation for the job market?
Yes. Training opportunities there. We have students coming there on attachment, on internship, even just in terms of plant operation. Yeah, we have engineers who are doing plant options. They come there, they get knowledge on how to run the machine, on how to repair, how to service. Plus, those who are in agriculture also, they join our extension officers to have engagements with the farmers. You know, those who are in ICT, we are coming up with the models, you know, making use of AI. So we give internship and trainings in all cadre of trainings that we have our learners go through in higher learning institutions. Yeah.
All right. And
how can they access these opportunities? Do they have is there a fee they pay, and for how long does the internships run?
Coordinated by the Public Service Commission. So over time or periodically, we have the Public Service Commission put up the adverts for internships. Now, of course, for internships, government pays some stipend. Now, we have attachments where we are also partnering with the learning institutions around that then bring their students as part of their courses. So we are working with the Public Service Commission, we are working with the learning institutions, but we also have students, or we also have individuals who make their personal efforts just to apply for these opportunities. So we have offered these opportunities to everybody, and we are glad if you, I know one day you will get to meet people in this field. Yeah, you'll be able to appreciate that a number of them went through LBDA in terms of gaining experience in rice value chain, in aquaculture value chain, in livestock value chain. So we give a lot of training opportunities to our learners. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Many thanks to you, CPA Wycliffe Ochiaga, the Managing Director of the Lake Basin Development Authority. Even as we talk about the bottom-up economic transformation agenda rollout through the rice value chain as part of the agricultural pillar, and I believe the farmers in the region have learned one or two things about the milling plant at Kibos and how can they benefit from this installation. That is why we put a cap on today's discussion on the Western Spectrum segment as part of the GMK show, but then still locked on KBC, because coming up is a health check with my colleague Vivian Dego. But then I have to extend my appreciation to the production team led by Mohika in Nairobi, and also the guys behind the lens here. We have Martin Kivuti and Simon Yamatik on the other side. But then again, I also have to say thank you to the management of Mirage Palace for continually allowing us access to have these informative discussions right within their premises. Like I mentioned, coming up is the family check with my colleague Vivian Degwa. But before that, let us take a short break right now.